Welcome in this Q Unit interview. Today I have a special guest, Lina, that some of you probably know from the quality world. She already have done specific interviews in quality, more recently with Lisa Crispin. You can check out the QualityTalks channels and all the media she divulgates. But hello, Lina, we are here to talk together. So how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm fine. How about you?
No, I'm okay. Still trying to see a bit of perspective out of the confinement, but we'll see how it goes. But like that, we can do some podcasts. So try to see the positive perspective of things. So yeah.
True that. And I also felt that because Quality Talks also started like more podcasts and online events due to confinement. So I know that.
Okay. So can you start to introduce yourself on the aspect you want to share professionally and personally? I know you have quite dynamic, so I let you present yourself.
Okay, let's try. I'm not the best person usually to present myself, even in the conferences when I am speaker. Like, I do not have like a very big about me slide. But my name is Lina. I have been in QA for several years now. Although I do not have an engineering background, but I just felt in love with IT and especially quality. Yes, so I started as a QA, as a manual tester, as they usually say, and I started to expand my knowledge quickly because I wanted to learn more and because I was really driven and motivated by everything that I saw on my day-to-day. And I tried to learn quickly different techniques, different things. Since I was usually the only QA in a team, I felt a little bit of a struggle to find out whether I was doing a good job or not, because I didn't have anyone to compare to.
Like a peer or someone to share. You are in development team, you have 50 developers, it's more easy, but okay. And what did you do?
So to overcome that, I started actually Quality Talks. That's how Quality Talks were born. And Quality Talks is a Portuguese QA community. And although I say it's Portuguese QA community, we do a lot of things in English and we have a lot of different events. We started with meetups, regular meetups once a month, but now we also have a YouTube channel where we host online live talks and different things. So that's how it began back in 2017. Apart from that, I also had an amazing challenge of assuming a head of QA in a Swiss startup, which also taught me a lot back then, because I had to define the strategy from scratch and build the whole QA department from zero. And then afterwards also starting to build a team as well. So it was a huge challenge for myself and I've learned a lot. And since then, I think that I've discovered also my niche, another passion within the passion of QA, which is trying to, among the chaos, trying to build the strategy, try to define things, try to align things, and think about the big picture for QA for companies. Exactly. And besides that, I also have been working with Portuguese women in tech as a mentor and trying to participate in different initiatives and trying to bring more girls and women to IT. Exactly.
Okay. Quite interesting what you said about having a transversal perspective and bring value to organization, because I think it's clearly a pitfall of a lot of engineers to focus on technological matters, and they talk about technology optimization and all the last buzzword, but they don't know why they are doing things. So I think today it will be interesting to explore this perspective you have.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to be honest. I cannot imagine, at least right now, myself doing something else other than that, because it's really exciting, you know, to just try to put myself a little bit aside and try to think on a big picture. And it's really intriguing. It's stressful. I think that's also because why I like it so much. But it's really rewarding, and when it gives fruits, it's awesome.
We'll share about that surely in the coming minutes. So okay, and can you tell us a bit more about what is your company doing? It's tb.lx. So I understand you are based in Lisbon, but you are part of a larger ecosystem. But overall, what are you trying to solve, and for which customer and which type of problems?
So yeah, that's right. After the challenge that I mentioned on setting up a QA department for a startup, I've received an invitation from tb.lx, which is an amazing company, and I fell in love immediately with them. So we are in a sweet spot because we are a startup within a corporate world. So we still have the freedom to define the technology, fail fast, do amazing things, and be very agile. But we have the backup of a larger group, which is also a very well-known group, which is Daimler. So everything related to smart, Mercedes, etc. And tb.lx is focused on a great mission, and I'm very proud and I'm very happy to be part of it, because we are working on a sustainable transportation for our future, which is really crucial. We work focused on the trucks and buses, which is inevitable because we still need to deliver foods and goods, right, to different places. So we will need trucks, and being able to work on a more sustainable way of transportation, it's really amazing. It's really cool to be part of it. The company is not that big. We have around 40 people, I believe. I'm not sure, to be honest, because we grow fast. But we are around 40, I would say. And we are based in Lisbon, but we also are very different in a sense that we have a very we have a very strong culture of trust as well. So we are remote first and hybrid work. So we also have people like that live outside Lisbon and from different places and different cultures. Yes, but our alma mater is in Lisbon. Yes.
Okay, no, interesting. And so you started the QA practice and QA challenges. So alone inside those this team of 40 people. So what was the motivation to start, or at least to appoint you? Because I understand they invited you. So why, in fact, they raised it?
Well, one thing I have to say is that we have an amazing engineering team, and they all knew that we must have quality embedded in everything that we do and deliver. So I think that more and more we see that in different companies, that people realize that we need quality, right? I would say that the picture has changed a lot over the last couple of years. And while some time ago in some companies we had to convince people that we need a quality department, now it's like more natural for everybody to know, it's a common ground that we need to have a QA team. And although the engineering team started doing things already by themselves without having a dedicated QA person, they felt that they would need somebody who would just, channel their efforts and try to structure everything, because the team was growing, the company was growing, also the amount of things that we were delivering. So they felt that they would need more structure, and they would need somebody who would be an advocate and would guide them through to build more reliable products.
Yeah, okay. So in fact, it was the growth that was requiring someone with a more broader perspective and
Exactly. Yeah.
end to end and connecting the dots of between the various
Exactly.
Okay. Well, at least it was good. If you had, I would say, a non-hostile welcome pack of engineers, because yeah, as you said, sometimes QA is a bit seen as the controllers guys that will come and check what we do. But yeah, it's also a good point. I understand that the culture you had was also favoring quality. So yeah.
Exactly. And I tried to also to push that forward. So to guarantee that I'm not, a police checker
Yeah.
in a company. I'm not the gatekeeper. I'm not
Okay.
the, the person who says go or no go, but more in terms of collaboration with the team and more
Yeah.
giving responsibility to the team, but guiding them when they need it.
Yeah. Okay. So how does it started? Because okay, great job. You arrive, QA, existing teams, you have all their habits, interaction, etc. So what did you do, for example, in your first 90 days? What was your key priorities?
Well, it was not easy, I have to be honest, although they had a lot of things done already. So they had the unit test and integration test in place. But first, we need to specify the common ground among us. So where we are at and where we want to be. What kind of tests we want to have as well, what level of testing we want to have as well. And even in terms of the namings conventions, it wasn't easy. So the things that somebody would call integration test and the other person would call end-to-end test, and then I would say end-to-end test, and somebody would think about other things. So first thing was to really define the common ground among all of us, what is what and what we really want to achieve. And then after that, I tried to understand what are the constraints and what we want to deliver, because we do not have like one solution fits all, right? So we need really to understand the business, understand the constraints, the teams, etc. So I was really trying to look and feel what exactly we need and where our our
The core
difficulties are.
value, yeah, and the main pain point you could have, limiting factors and possible risks.
Exactly. Exactly. So I knew that we want to deliver the best products possible to them, to the Daimler world. I knew that we have high interaction with externals to tb.lx stakeholders, and that was one of the first things that was, a guiding star for me, because I knew that we really need something that would provide a good level of communication among different people. And I started from there.
Okay. So I imagine the part of building relationship and trust was one of your key priorities at first, or how did you did that? You went with one-on-one interview with all key stakeholders, because one question I always see or in companies, a bit like you say, the people understand some specific test techniques with a different perspective. I think that overall, when we talk about quality, it's a very vague word that is also very subjective to different persons. So how did you manage that, in fact, the alignment of the quality value proposition, in fact?
Well, that was a challenge because the Daimler world is huge, of course. So I had to attend to a lot of different meetings and meet a lot of different people. But I wouldn't say that it was actually one-on-one with everybody. I was just, I think that a lot of people was kind of waiting for me to start at tb.lx, So by the time when I started, everyone already pinged me to say, "Hey, you're right, so welcome."
Talk with you,
can I have exactly? So can I have a call with you? So it was like more in a group sessions with different stakeholders, and it helped me to introduce myself and what I really aim to do. But my first days or first months were really focused within tb.lx. So in the first place, what we as a company want to achieve and what we as a company want to deliver. And then when I had very clear understanding of what we as a company, as tb.lx want and have, and what is our values and purpose and what we are delivering, then I started to gradually meet the outside world, the Daimler world, because of course, yes, you probably know, different stakeholders will then try to push their ideas as well, which is great. But I really wanted to be aligned in the first place with tb.lx, and I had, like, with the help of the amazing team, I was able to understand exactly what we are delivering and stand by that. So this was clearly the
first step.
The strategy. So starting from within to then broaden a little bit the borders.
Okay, so it was really an investment to work on the right priorities. And then, so can you share some elements, because it was this first part to say, okay, what we should work as a priority. We have limited resource, we should work on business priorities, etc. But what did you selected? And for example, how can you give example of QA priorities that were aligned with business goal? Because I think it's an exercise that is, as you said, you invest a lot of time. So a lot of people bypass these steps and then they lack a lot of sense is what they are doing. So I think it can be interesting to show how you make this alignment in reality.
Sure. So in the first place, as I mentioned, the thing that I wanted to guarantee with QA activities and strategy in the first place was communication. We are a company and we need to function very well within tb.lx, but we also have external stakeholders, so we want to guarantee that we are all on the same page. And sometimes communication is not easy. We are in a remote setup, we work in different locations, we have also different time frames. For example, we work with USA, for example, so we have different timings as well. So I wanted to guarantee that we are in the same page, both on what we are delivering and what we are expected to deliver. So I started from there, and I really tried to focus our strategy more on the TDD or ATDD approach to guarantee that we have clear communication and clear goals to our development team. Because we have an amazing engineering team, and I really wanted their efforts to be focused on exactly what the client, in this case, our client, would expect from us. So I found a tool that is not that well known or not that broadly adopted, which is called Karate DSL. And it's a variation of the old good known cucumber with gherkin. It also uses gherkin to specify the testing, but it has one layer less than cucumber. So it's easier. It's a lot easier to implement, and it's easier to code and write tests because it has one layer less. And so I was able to guarantee that we would be faster also because of that. Because it's pretty straightforward. We would have living documentation. We would have also clear test cases that anybody within the team would understand, like the POs, the developers, even if they are not into QA on a daily basis, they would quickly open the test and they would understand exactly what we are testing there. So we adopted a TDD strategy, so acceptance test driven development. And that was our starting point. So aligning with the business partners, what exactly they're expecting from us, then transforming that into tests. And then from that point on, the development team could work and do their magic. They would have freedom to choose the best, programming languages, frameworks, etc., as long as they have as long as they have those parts guaranteed that the business partners would expect from us. also because performance is a key. We are talking about vehicles that are driving and sending tons of data like per second, right? So performance is really important for us as well. And karate had an amazing implementation along with Gatling. Gatling is also, it's a pretty well-known tool there for performance tests, and it is possible just to link directly karate tests to Gatling tests.
Yeah.
So I do not need to write different set of tests. I can reuse my tests from karate and run them as a performance test as well. So that was also another thing to consider, and that's why I also choose this framework, because I felt that, okay, it can be a very good thing for us. Also, security is very important for us. So for that, we are trying to guarantee different levels of security. And for example, I'm pretty sure that everybody know who João Proença is. He's a very well-known speaker, and he usually talks about the risk storming sessions. So since security and performance was so important for us, I've tried to integrate risk stormings as well in our team. We start all development from that. So the risk storming is the step number one. Then I talk to stakeholders, product owners, I define the tests. Then we have the coding part. We have also static security analysis, different levels. And now I'm trying to finish already the part for fuzz testing as well, to guarantee that we have also security in place. So I ended up to define more dev, test, SecOps framework rather than just a QA framework itself.
Okay, well, it's interesting because when you were sharing all you have done, it was interesting that I was reflecting, and you will probably give me much more insight on that. It was from a business perspective and product owner, etc. What have changed with quality? So I understand probably a first visible step was people were more clear. They were involved in the ATDD process, and so they were describing what they were expecting and bridging the gap between the product and its implementation. But with all those paths you shared, for example, if you get out of engineering teams and you get from a product owner business perspective, what was the most valuable, I would say, output and results that those persons could see? Because they don't see normally the underlying details. So.
I do believe that the biggest change that we could notice, or at least I would love to believe that that is true, is for the engineering team themselves, because they had no broad idea of what they need to deliver. So they knew exactly what they are expected to deliver. And I think that's easier. Of course, they still have a lot of room to, just implement their ideas, their vision, but that's usually more on the technology level, how to solve a problem, but they do not need to, spend time double checking or triple checking or just trying to imagine what we would expect if the truck just goes offline, for example, They had like clear instructions. It's like having a great recipe where you can then add the seasoning that you want, but you know exactly what you need to do step by step. And I really want to believe that is the easiest thing. And of course, from my perspective, and we are like far from being there where we want to be yet, because we are trying to expand our team right now. And so far, it is only me. But the biggest thing is that we fail faster, and that's cool. Because let's be honest, we are not perfect. Nobody is, right? We all have our failures. We all sometimes make mistakes. That is okay. But we have very small feedback loop, and we fail fast. And that helps to guarantee that we also have more time to think through, to solve the problems, to fix it. And of course, there's like a very well-known statistic saying that if you test the deliverables right away, it takes 4 minutes to a developer to fix the bug. But if he then finds out like a day after, it will be already 1 hour of work. And it would be like 1 week after, it will be like 1 week of work for a developer. So the later we discover the bugs, worse it is and more time consuming for everybody. So we do not have that, or at least the ideal picture is that we will not have that. They know exactly what the tests are, and they need to guarantee that all tests are green, and that is definition of done. Of course, then we will have exploratory testing, we will have like
the approach,
exactly, but at least things that they really need to deliver and that they need to be in place no matter what. They have short feedback loop because they have their test locally from the point zero when they start developing. So while they are developing, they can constantly check whether they are doing good or not according to what is expected from them in terms of the testing part.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So are you using some type? I know the metrics and KPI have always a danger in their usage, but are you using specific? I can phrase the question that way. Are you using some metrics and KPI to support what you are doing, not like the only things to measure and to focus on?
We would like to. We have some. We are not there yet as well. Okay. So our main focus was to guarantee that we have the dev test SecOps, that we have the automated tests, and I also have different teams. So I try to divide my time also among the different teams. That's why also it was so important for me to not to be a bottleneck in the project, because I have different projects, and I really wanted to guarantee that the teams are pretty autonomous and they do not depend 100% on me. Of course, we check, like, for example, in terms of the security, we try to check a lot of things that we find. For example, the nightly builds of fuzz testing, like how many bugs we find, also the retention. But I would say that we are not metric focused yet, at least. We are really focused on the beginning of the process, like preventing more than reacting, at least for now.
And probably measure, I understand your goal was fast feedback loop, also fast feedback loop, fast verification, and to learn fast. So so it's probably
exactly that was the main goal. Of course, we guarantee like the coverage, because that is important, and we guarantee the good test coverage on different layers, so in different test levels. So it is on the unit test levels, but also in the acceptance levels. So we try to guarantee that we have a good coverage on all of them, and we also try to guarantee that the errors and bugs that we find are way more than the ones that are found by stakeholders afterwards. That is also important. But our main goal is to guarantee that we have a solid structure, framework, and routine, I would say, QA routine or quality standard.
Habit and capability, and not really.
Exactly. So guarantee that we have quality embedded in all teams, and that everybody's just aware of what they need to do and how they need to do, and having this culture. So transforming this from process to a culture. And one day maybe we will have more metrics to check.
But continuous improvement is the key, I think.
Exactly.
One of your, and iterate fast to see what's working or not. So Okay. And I have a question that I see a lot of times. I think I have the answer, because I understand you were already doing automated tests, etc. But we see regularly the question, who should do the test, etc., etc. Should it be the developer, the tester, etc.? Personally, I think that it depends on the context. But in your case, as you were alone in leading the QA, it means that the value tests you mentioned are implemented directly by the software engineers. So
I do agree with you that it depends on the context. In my case, we have engineering team guaranteeing the unit and integration test levels, and I am focused more on the functional test levels. And although I'm just the only QA for now in the company for different teams, that happens for a reason, because since we work on a more ATDD thing, I bring that critical thinking to tests. So the test itself, since it's in Gherkin, it does not take too long to write. It's more about thinking about the use cases, and I try to be there. But of course, for example, I work a lot with POs, so product owners. They help me to think about tests. And one amazing thing that we are achieving, for me, that's really awesome, and I love that, is that I commit, for example, my first version of tests to Git, and then I have the PO reviewing my commit and my pull request and checking and giving me feedback. So, Lina, maybe we would have also this test, and maybe it would be nice to have this scenario. So that's awesome. We are all working in the same level, you know. I have the developers checking the code itself, and I have the POs checking the use cases, and that's amazing, and that's like really a real collaboration between us. So yeah, I'm the owner, but I would say that everybody contributes to that, because
I understand also,
exactly, because the team checks also the tests that I commit, and they give me very frequently, they give a very valuable feedback saying, okay, but maybe in this case you are checking that the result is this one, but maybe in some edge cases it would not work, but maybe this test is flaky. So I am the owner, but we all work on the test writing. I would put it that way.
Okay. No, it's very interesting. I understand you already implemented a series of good practice in the ecosystem. For example, the point that you selected a tool that was more usable and understandable by all the team, rather than the perfect tooling, whatever technology connector. It's for example, for me, it's a very good example of the, I would say, valuable decision you took on that journey. So, and did you have any specific challenges? Or I understand part of the culture is to experiment, and what we failed, we learn from it, etc. But what was your one or some key learnings you have in your journey up to now?
Well, we had a lot of things that didn't work as expected for several reasons. First of all, I would say that we have a very big challenge, and one of the biggest challenges that I already mentioned is the fact that we really work with a lot of data, and it's live streaming data. And live streaming is not easy. I had to stalk like different people, try to understand how we can test it, because it's live streaming. You cannot predict exactly what you will be receiving. So how you are supposed to test it, right? And this was like one of the biggest struggles I've had, to understand how we can test it, and also, for example, to have the data set to test, because in case you do not have like available vehicle for the testing purposes, live streaming, so then what, right? And then we needed to guarantee that we have the test benches, that we have test data sets, etc. So we had to find a lot of ways to overcome that. And this was like the key learning sometimes, that we cannot have tests for the live streaming in all scenarios, for example, because it's really difficult to write a trustworthy test that would not be flaky, etc. And so in some cases, we had to have like a specific data set that would represent different scenarios. Gladly, we have also amazing data engineers at tb.lx who just could, create groups of data that saying, okay, like we can have these cases, we can have that cases, we can have that cases, and then from that also to build some negative scenarios. We also have externally in the Daimler world, we have companies that can provide test benches, virtual solutions. So, but I have to be honest that the streaming testing is not easy at all.
Yeah, yeah. It was already hard to test a more standard application, and so with a deluge of data, streaming, etc. So yeah, it's only...
Exactly. And I do remember that I started to write some tests to streaming, and I would say that the first couple of days was just waste of time, was just wasted work.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work like in any case. It's difficult even to integrate all the tooling with the streaming capabilities. Even Postman, for example, that we all use for live streaming, it doesn't work because it doesn't receive an answer, because a response, it doesn't have a response, it's streaming. It just starts, you do a request and you do not receive a response, you just start streaming. So even Postman cannot check that. So the first couple of days, I would say it was like completely wasted work. And I had just to...
Full of learning, depends, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to start from scratch over again and like, okay, let's see.
Okay, interesting, yeah. So if you had to, I would say it can be start again, or it can also be a bit the key takeaways you learn from this experience. For example, someone that is appointed again, or similarly to yours, as a head of QA lead in a company, what would be your recommendation to like, okay, you should do that to succeed? At least I guarantee that from my experience, it's worthwhile.
Well, I would say that first thing first, it's like, we really need to understand what we want to deliver. And I do believe that sometimes, and at least it happens to me, I don't know if it happens to someone else, but I'm willing to share. Sometimes we want so badly to have like automated tests and, everything running in a pipeline, then just, automatic or on every build and everything nice and pretty, that we forget why we test in the first place.
Yeah.
And that happened to me, for example, with the streaming. To test the streaming itself, I tried to find the best tooling, and I tried different tools, and I wrote like exquisite tests that then at the end of the day, they just didn't work and they were not validating what I needed. And I just ended up thinking again and trying to stop a little bit and think why I'm doing this test, what I want to achieve. And sometimes it's really important just to step back, because we get in that loop that we really want, the nicest pipelines and everything automated and everything nice and beautiful with great dashboards. And we start to worry about that so much that we focus more on the amount of code that we write rather than the amount of quality that we can guarantee or amount of things that we actually validate.
Yeah.
It's not a competition. It's not about having the 2,000 automated tests and having everything automated. And I defined that in a strategy that, okay, guys, we have part of things that are really monotonous, repetitive work that we do not want to repeat every day. So that is automated. But there is also room for me or for anybody else within the team with me or by themselves to check manually, to check like with different tooling or like something not automated or pre-automated, for example, because our main goal is to guarantee quality, is not to deliver like 2,000 automated tests.
Yeah. But you're right, we can easily fall into the technology silo optimization. So trap.
Yeah, but sometimes I do know that sometimes it's so exciting to have so many things automated. But the main goal of the quality department or quality advocates, quality owners, quality engineers is to guarantee quality in the first place. It's not to deliver tons of automated or tons of lines of code.
Exactly. Okay. No, I think very interesting and impactful takeaways for everyone to put in our desk for everyday reminders. So, And if you end up with a personal note, because I like to ask that because we see some, my question is, which type of content have inspired you or continue to inspire you today? So it can be books, blogs, a person, but what do you have that still guide you today?
I think that this will be like not an easy answer, but not because I do not have things to mention. It's exactly on the contrary. So I feel inspired a lot by, first of all, by the team that I have. And I think that there are not perfect companies, there are not perfect teams, there are not perfect circumstances. And, you know, they say that the grass is always greener on the other side. But I think that it's really crucial to work in an environment where you trust people and where people trust you, and also where you can clearly communicate and, you know, just get there and get things done. So the team that I have definitely is a huge motivation for me and the goal for the purpose of the company. That is the first point. Then also the external world, I have the quality talks and I feel very inspired both by the speakers that I receive, but also from people that attend, that ask questions, that they bring their doubts, they really want some mentorship or some help or some piece of advice, and that inspires me a lot to just keep pushing and to learn. And sometimes I learn more with questions from other people than, you know, that from given information, like when somebody is trying to teach me something. Sometimes questions are really a great way of learning, and it also puts everything in a different perspective sometimes. So it's actually very cool to have Quality Talks community. Of course, I also know a very inspiring guy, which is called Antoine. I don't know if you know him, with the QA unit, but we actually do share a lot of ideas with you, and that's also very cool to have, you know. Even with João Proença, I also try to keep in touch with him, and so different professionals in the area. It's great. And come on, guys, people in IT, they're really, really approachable usually, especially in the quality. When I approached Lisa Crispin for the first time, I was really, really scared. It's like, oh, Lisa Crispin, come on, she will never talk to me. And then like she replied and she was like so excited, you know, that I felt, okay, there are no limits. So it's really easy to approach anybody and talk to people, and they will share their experience. I do spend some time on Twitter, for example, checking what's out there, what are the news. Books from Lisa Crispin, books also from Barry Serial-Good that also attended Quality Talks, and he is one of my testing gurus. I love his approach and mindset. So their books are great, and I love, and they inspire me a lot. Also, Angie Jones is a huge inspiration for me, and she also gives like amazing talks that inspire. Usually I do not look that much for technical piece of advice, because things change that fast that you cannot just stay all the time up to date. Today we have the cucumber, which is like, you know, the buzzword. Tomorrow it will be DevOps, and then the day after tomorrow is DevSecOps, and then we have another thing, and then we have another thing, then we have Cypress, then we have, you know, things change constantly. So I do not seek that much for technical information. I seek more for the purpose thing. And I think that when we are driven by the purpose, why we are in this area, what we want to deliver, and knowing that we actually have an impact, that we actually help this world, people's lives, etc. Depends on the business that you are. But if you Yeah, if you're developing, I don't know, a mobile app, you're helping somebody with something already. If you are working on a travel platform, then you are helping people to have their dreams come true, right? By traveling and seeing things that they wanted to see. I have the massive honor to be able to transform the future of the transportation, and this is amazing. So I really look for people that inspire me in terms of the motivation why we are in the QA at the first place. And people that I mentioned here, you, João Proença, Angie Jones, Lisa Kristen, and Baris, for me are great, great people in this field that for me are a massive inspiration.
Okay. Oh, great. Thanks for sharing. And I like this part on the connection and the purpose. I think we forget it a lot, but yeah, I think it's what helps us to get through difficult times. So yeah, completely.
Exactly. Exactly. At the end of the day, we have the ability to do things that we love, which is testing. And I really want to believe that you love testing. And we also have the ability to choose the different business. And when the connection is awesome of the purpose of what you are doing and why you are doing, I think it's just awesome. And it just brings the full potential of what we do. And that is crucial also for the work-life blend. For me, it's not a balance. For me, it's a blend because I do not shut off quality after 5 or 6 p.m. I still attend the different conferences or meetups or podcasts or whatever. For me, it's a blend, and it's really great to know that we have impact in this world. So for me, the thing of purpose is really important. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Lina, for all those sharings and also use the humility to share, because it's not something easy for some people and organizations. So I value truly that, and I think it's like that. You shared also the community part, and I think we can only also learn by sharing what works and what does not work. So great sharing.
So thank you for having me again. Yeah, and thanks also to tb.lx for being such an open company, because they were really okay with it.
Okay, well, good luck, Lina, for setting up your QA team and for also the Quality Talks, hoping for more presential event soon. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lina. Yeah, bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for your interest in the themes of quality engineering. You can find more content on QUnique.com. Stay tuned for the next episode. Bye-bye.